Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. Say, if a woman from Cuba married a man from Iceland, would that make their children ice cubes? Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Cuba Libre from GMT Games. In Cuba Libre, Castro's Insurgency, 1957-1958, from GMT Games, up to 4 players take on the roles of various factions as they vied for power during this time period and attempted to dominate Cuba. Now, this game has been around for a long time, over a decade now. I'm just getting it. I'm not going to spend too much time on the rules here, just going to tell you some of the basics and what my thoughts are. Now, the 4 factions in the game are the Batista government, Castro's July 26th movement, the organized crime syndicate running all of the casinos, and the Directorio, rebels which favored neither Castro nor the Batista government. Now, this is a counterinsurgency game, a coin game. And what that means is, of course, you have a card deck that is going to kind of drive the game. It's going to have various events on it. But every round, you kind of have a section of the board which shows who is eligible to take an action and the choices for what actions they can take. So when you draw a card, it kind of lists the player order. The first eligible player in that order, they can go ahead and they can take an action. Now, for actions, they can go ahead and they can do the event on the card. They can claim that space, take the event on the card. They can choose to do an operation, which is one of your major actions, and you may have the opportunity to do an operation and a special activity that is associated with it as well. Now, whatever action that first player takes, the second player then must take the second option in that track. So wherever the first player goes, it's going to limit them what their options are. Now, they can choose to pass, and if they pass, they will gain resources, the currency of the game. But if they do decide to take an action, they can only take an action that was associated with the first action that the first player took that round. So they may be able to do the event. They may be able to do an insurgent operation. They may be able to do an insurgent operation and a special activity. Now, only 2 of the 4 players can go every turn. So 2 of those players that went will then go to the ineligible spot, meaning they'll move to the side where they cannot go for the next turn. Then on the next round, on the next card draw, then the other 2 players, they can go. There may be more players if one of the players passed, so potentially you'll have more people that could theoretically go. But again, every turn, only 2 players are going to be able to actually take actions. Now, there are various kinds of actions. Now, the government has police forces and troops, and these are represented by cubes. They also have bases represented by discs. They can go ahead and put those things out on the board. Some of their actions allow them to attack enemy guerrillas, but only if they've been activated. Now, for the Directorio, the 26th July movement, you're putting guerrillas out there. You put them face down. That means the star is face down. In order then to take actions with them, to attack other people or manipulate the board somehow. Usually you have to expose that guerrilla so he's face up, meaning the government can potentially could take a shot at them. But they're also putting out their own bases, which help them as well. The syndicate, they're putting out their guerrillas, but they also are putting out casinos, and they're trying to operate casinos because that's one of the ways they're going to score victory points. Now, at the beginning of the game, you're actually going to create the deck into kind of 4 sections. And within each of those sections, you're going to shuffle a propaganda card. Now, when the propaganda card comes out, this essentially is a scoring card. You're going to move to the scoring round. And during the scoring round, you're going to kind of manipulate various factors on the board. You're going to be able to maybe to place more units. You're going to gain more resources. There's different things that the different factions have to do at this time. But also, toward the beginning of the propaganda phase, you can check for victory. If any one of the four factions has met their victory objectives, then they can win. Each faction has a different victory objective. This is a highly asymmetrical game. For the government, they have to have active support. There are various levels of support throughout the board, but in the three major cities, they have to have full active support and have to have over 18 resources on the resource track. For the Directorio to win, the population of the regions they control plus the number of bases they have on the board have to equal 9. If they can do that, they win. For the Syndicate to win, they have to have more than 7 open casinos on the board, and their total resources have to equal more than 30. For the July 26 Communists to win, the total opposition number plus the number of bases must exceed 15. If they do that, then Castro is triumphant. So whoever is able to reach their specific victory conditions wins. Cuba Libre, Castro's Insurgency, 1957-1958. We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review. Okay, so as I mentioned, I am super late to the party on this one. This game has been, I think this game was released in 2013. It was the second coin game GMT released. So let me tell you, I have always been incredibly intimidated by the coin system. I always thought they looked really good, but I was always a little afraid of them. They looked like they might be a little bit too complicated for me. And in fact, when this game was originally released, it probably was. I don't think I would have had the patience to learn it, and I think the group I was playing with probably wouldn't have had the patience to learn it either. So I think I was probably wise to wait, because certainly my gaming tastes have evolved and my patience for learning games has evolved as well. But earlier this year, I think late last year, early this year, I started playing some coin games and coin adjacent games that kind of whetted my appetite. First, I played The British Way, which is a great game of counterinsurgency at the end of the British Empire, and it's got like 4 games in it. 4 scenarios in it. Anyway, it's really fun. Ray and I played that. We really liked it. I played Vijaya Nagara, which is kind of coin adjacent, which was a really fun and interesting game set in medieval India there. And then earlier this summer, I believe I played a Jest of Robin Hood, or a Guest of Robin Hood, however we pronounce that. It was really fun. One of the best games I played this year. I really enjoyed a Jest of Robin Hood quite a bit. It was super fun. So I kind of felt like I was ready to dip my toes. I reached out to GMT and I said, I'd like to review some more of these coin games. And the one that kind of really thematically I was interested in was Liberty or Death. And they said to me, well, you know what? My contact there said to me, we'll send you that, but you should probably start with Cuba Libre. We think that's a good starting spot. So they sent me this game, and I've actually had it for a few months now, and I have been waiting to get it to the table. And it has been very difficult trying to get this one to the table. Just because it's I've only been here in Boise about a year, and it's kind of, my game group was pretty small. I had Ray. Occasionally we could get a third. It was very rare that we could get 4. And the other night, sure enough, we got 4. And I was super excited. We finally got a chance to put Cuba Libre on the table. And right off the bat, this game, first of all, it's a visually striking game. It's got beautiful colors. The map's beautiful. The components, I think it's a good looking game. And let's be honest, that's a big part of what we love about the hobby is the presentation. Now, don't get me wrong, the game is the thing, and I'd much rather play a really good game that doesn't look so great than a great looking game that's kind of blah. But it looks great. Well, I started playing the game, and I'll tell you, there's a learning curve. For my first few turns, I wasn't quite sure what I was doing. I didn't really have a strategy. I was just kind of going, okay, I can do this, I can do this. It was about maybe the 3rd or 4th game turn that the light bulb clicked. And go, oh, wait a second. Okay, so this is going on. So then I started figuring out what I'm doing. And then toward the end game, I realized, well, yeah, but it's not just a game where you got to know what you're doing. You got to know what everybody else is doing and what their capabilities and plans are. And consequently, it becomes very fun when you're considering what you're doing but what other people can do. But it's almost like a chess match, but a chess match with a lot more computations because you've got the four players and they all have the different things that they can do. And then of course you never know what the events on the cards are going to bring to the table at any given point. So it is really good. I really like to the way you um, when you're making choices. If you're the first player and you're making choices about what you want to do, because you may really not want to play that event card, but you don't want anyone else to get it because it could screw you. So you play the event card anyway, even though it doesn't do a lot for you. That's a great choice. But then too, maybe sometimes you'll play events not so much for what you can do, but to try to limit the options of another player, which is a lot of fun too, right? So you may maneuver them into taking just a limited um, operation there. It's really good, and generally speaking, I like games that have asymmetry to them. And where this is a four-player game with asymmetry, I really, really enjoyed that aspect of it. Now, I got to tell you, for years, people have been telling me, Cody, you got to play a coin game. You got to get into coin. You got to get coin. And I was like, okay. One day, I'm sure. I got to tell you, they were all right. I'm kicking myself. I'm finding that I'm falling in love with coin. I'm hoping to get Liberty or Death to the table soon. They've got the Red Dust Rebellion coming out, which I'm really looking forward to. And I know there's some other great games that they produce in the coin series that I'm super excited about. So Cuba Libre, first of all, it's got great history, right? Love learning about the history here and getting a sense of that. Love the components and the table presence of this game, and the gameplay is amazing. Amazing. This, friends, this is one of the most fun games I've played this year. And if this was a 2024 release, it would easily be in the top 10 of the year. Could see it maybe being maybe one or two, maybe. I'd have to think about that, but it's not. It's an older game. That having said, I love this game. I think it's fantastic, and yeah, I'll be playing this one again. But I want to play these other coin games as well. So I'm actually going to give this on the Cody scale a 9 out of 10. Frankly, with more plays, I could see it becoming a 9.5 or even a 10. That's how much fun I have with this game. I think it is brilliant. Now, there are options for fewer players and for a bot. I don't know that I'd want to solo this one. To me, a lot of the fun came from the interaction with the players. But having said that, who knows? Maybe I'll try it somewhere down the line. But again, that's my rating, a 9 out of 10. Fellas, it is excellent. If you haven't played it, check it out. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, I ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. I'd ask you to please give a thumb to this video on YouTube and on Board Game Geek. And if you're so inclined, I'd ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about military history, books on history, fun things like that. It would mean a lot to me if you would subscribe to that channel as well. And if you really do appreciate the content we bring you on this channel, I would humbly ask you to click on the Super Thanks button and leave a tip. You know, a joke about communism is a lot like food in communist countries. Not everybody gets it. Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
I cannot wait for the next Michael Bay Transformers movie. It's because I have terrible taste, and I'm a horrible human being. Have you seen those movies?